Welcome back to the Château de Saint-Germain-des-Prés, where we are continuing to work on the cafe, intermittent with a little fireside chat with an artist. Very exciting moment. The shelf is coming out. We are permanently removing this bad boy. We don't feel like it adds really that much. It just gets in the way of the heater, so.
There you go, this whole shelf is being held up by that.
So turn that sideways so people can see. So the length of that screw, I'm just comparing that to the tiny little thing that was holding up the 20-pound chandelier.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think maybe they mixed up the two. Well, that was clever. I figured out the order of operations on that one. So it was take out the under support first so that the hinge can go down so that you can hopefully unscrew it, though it does look like it's been there a day or two.
Shelf removed.
And now we can see why we really just don't want it in there, because obviously, I mean, it's an old heating unit, but I mean, look at the damage it's doing by just sort of keeping the heat under the shelf. It looks really serious. So obviously we're getting a new heater, getting that replaced, but we'll just leave that open because I think it'll be a better look and clearly do less damage, so.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if we wanted to have a shelf, maybe something off the side here, but I don't think it's necessary though.
I don't think so, but we'll see.
You can also put a table. We got a couple of small tables too.
Yeah, that's a thought.
When we're not using the heater.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's other purposes for this space, so.
Nice. Can't find the screws, so just seeing what little percussive maintenance we'll do.
Yeah, it's nails. It's been nailed in.
Okay, that's a choice.
I think we're going to do it that way.
Seems to be working.
There we go. There's.
Yay! Oh my goodness.
Whew, look at the size of those nails.
Again, more secure than the chandelier. What is that?
I think they put a wooden
Oh, they put a dowel in the wall so they could
nail
to it? Okay, that's
I think so.
something.
Yeah, it's another
For
wooden.
goodness sake.
Look at that.
Come on. What the heck?
And they're nailed into a wood dowel again too.
And now, of course, you run into the risk that they're rusted and that you'll just get the top of them off.
Yeah.
Again,
Physics, people.
I can hear everyone yelling, mind your fingers.
No, there's not enough head.
Of course not. Why would there be enough head to get that out?
Look at that thing.
Holy lick. Seriously. To hold on a little bitty shelf.
Well, it wasn't going anywhere. Wow, that one's not coming out easy. Nope, and there you go.
And then it snapped off.
Yeah, broke the nail. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that'll make a big hole for you.
What have you discovered?
Well, I thought I would just have a look-see in here about how this is mounted and how it's actually wired, and I can't believe that that's it.
That's just like one little bar of heat, that's it.
Yeah, it's basically one little heating element below here that's wired in there. And that's
a lot of space.
Yeah, and it's corroded and... After removing the shelf in here, we've got several things that we need to address. So you can see there was hinges that were mounted into the wood here, which is the bottom of the window frame. Then there's the plaster below it. And then there's just a little bit of a crack in between. Fortunately, it's not too bad at all, but between the wood and the plaster itself. So we need to employ a couple of different things here. First thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of wood filler just to fill in the section of wood that was taken out by this hinge. Then we're going to use a filler that will go in between the two, and then finally a plaster coat that will fill in the rest of it so that it'll all be nice and flush again, and to fill in these holes and things that are left by the shelf. So hopefully that will work. We want to make sure we're using all of the different types of materials so that we're not causing any problems with it. So let us know if you think that's going to be the solution. I mean, there's lots of experts out there. I'm certainly not one of them. I'm just doing what I can see is correct and from what we can find on the internet.
I am here with a friend of the Chateau that you guys all know but don't know you know. So this is the magical Diane Dowsett, who has introduced us to Kate Taylor and Angela Lane, who are running a retreat here later on, and Jacinta Krish, who is running the Mixed Media Artist Retreat. And you have kindly introduced us to both of those artists.
Yeah.
Because in your now second career, you are becoming an artist as well and delving into your creative side. You were a lovely mentor to me while we were in the corporate world, and I'm really glad that we maintained contact.
Yeah.
And when you found out we were on this crazy adventure, you were wildly supportive of it, I really appreciate.
Still am, yeah, very much.
And you've provided some really great feedback, and I really appreciate it. And I wonder if you would tell us now about your art and where you're heading personally on your next career.
I kind of always hoped I would sort of arrive at this point, but I never knew if it was going to happen. And definitely through the last few years, and you know, because I worked all the way through the pandemic and just kind of retired out of my corporate world last year, definitely helped to keep me sane. And I was just so delighted in the last few years of thinking, gosh, I'm enjoying this far more than I thought I would.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought maybe this is the time to just make a bit of a brave decision, always knowing that if things didn't pan out, we always all have options as to what we can do if things don't turn out the way that we planned. And I thought, no, it's time to take the plunge. And I wanted to do it, and I'm definitely learning as I go. It is very, very kind of early days, but I've equally kind of enjoyed that part of it. But also just being able to have the luxury of immersing myself in creating paintings. Yeah, I always found painting and creating, and frankly, whether it was even just doing decorating projects around the house, or I would hand paint, a special greeting card for somebody on their birthday, because I thought, it's just a nice, nice little touch, little unique. But it was always kind of limited to a few hours on the weekend, when I would have the time and the headspace to be able to do that from when I was working. And what has been a really pleasant surprise over the past 18 months is the benefit that comes from being able to immerse myself in painting. Now I find myself thinking about, okay, what's the future series of paintings? How can I approach something differently? I am quite new to social media, so even just learning and navigating that, now that is what is kind of consuming my time, as well as I didn't really know what it was going to be like to develop an artistic network. And so now the people that I've met, whether it's through ongoing professional courses or things like the upcoming retreat, which we can talk about, for next year with Jacinta, there's just so much more to this now of kind of what is bringing me joy. People who knew me and my friends and people who I've been in touch with kind of before when I was working, and now when I meet up with them for a coffee or what have you, they tell me I look disgustingly relaxed. And I don't mind rubbing that in. It's like I truly am just feel
sorry not sorry.
Yeah, sorry not sorry. Feeling very, very grateful, very happy that I've been able to kind of focus my time now doing this.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that. So you mentioned the retreat. So you are are from the Toronto area.
Yes.
As is Jacinta, but you are also going to come back next year and join us again in our crazy adventure.
Yeah.
And what are you hoping to get out of that experience?
Yeah. So interestingly, I think out of my previous career, I always valued the concept of ongoing development, ongoing learning, and recognized that no matter where I was or what I was doing, it was always really helpful to step back, learn and connect with others, and to being able to almost, critically assess where I am. I've had the benefit of being able to travel, and there's something quite magical about coming to a different, beautiful landscape where not only can I immerse, but I'm in a fundamentally different kind of place.
Right.
Where I find it very energizing to be out in different landscape and to likewise be with like-minded people. So when I had the opportunity to introduce Jacinta, who is a very talented artist and talented teacher, and I've had the benefit of attending her programs before, and the thought of marrying those two things together was just something I could not resist. I find, and from chatting with other artists, it's license to experiment, to take off the pressure of feeling like I'm having to produce a piece I'm then going to be putting up for sale or entering into some kind of show, and to just let all of that go in a very supportive environment. And you're right, that is where you learn things about yourself and your own process. And I think the two of you are really creating something kind of special here, right? And are finding people who want to take part in that.
I want to say thank you one more time for Diane. She brought us a little gifty.
I did.
Yes.
A little reminder of Ontario for those who recognize the trilliums that grow every spring. So I just let a nice little Canadian insertion kind of into the French chateau.
So I'm very excited. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
And we will
for
see
having
you
us.
very soon.
Yes.
And everyone go check out Diane's website and her socials and give her some love.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We're having a discussion this morning. We've gone back and taken a look at the video that we did with Vincent when he was here, when he was here, just to make sure that we're staying on track to what the idea was. And we're now discussing the trim that's going around the doors. So this, you saw us paint, this is the data rail or subesmal that will go right around the entire room. And you can see the width of that. And when Vincent was talking about it, about the two-tone colors here, we realized that he was actually talking just this section, the raised section, being in the darker green, and leaving the flat sections here in the lighter green. So obviously that's going to require a lot more work for us to, either tape off or work on just the details and then paint everything else. But we're beginning to wonder whether that's a good thing. Let's stay true to it. But the other problem that we have, of course, is that they aren't all the same.
Of course not. Chateau life. Yeah.
So, it works fine on, these two frames. They've got, the right width there. It'll feel like it's all about the same size. But then you look at this one, we're going to put a small bit of trim to cover up the the separation that's going on here, just to make that tidier. So how do we play with that? And then that frame, but then we got this door that doesn't actually have a return. I'm not quite sure what the technical term for it is. It really just has the trim. So is that okay as well? Obviously it's okay. It's up to us how we do it.
I think if we try to keep the proportions the same, it'll work better with the orangerie theme, with the greenhouse structure idea.
Yeah,
right?
It'll feel like a structure.
Yeah,
right?
Rather than thick and thin.
So it looks like we're going to be
doing some extra
doing
trim
more
work.
But that's okay.
I know I look spectacular right now. Back in the cafe, 2 coats of the light green inner trim have been done, which means I get to start on the dark green outer trim, which makes me pretty happy. Let's see how much I can get done. I know some of you will have been looking at my trowel and brush combination and going, don't they have blue tape in France? And yes, they do, but I find getting up right to the edges on something tricky like the trim is actually, it's more effective for me just to put a straight edge up against it and paint along that if I'm careful. Oh, Steve, are you there?
Yeah.
I was just doing B-roll. What do you think?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do like it actually. I'm picturing it with the wallpaper. I can't wait to get the wallpaper up now, quite frankly. But I like it.
I'm sure you're probably looking at my paint job and going, we could do better. But I intentionally went over the edges a little bit so that it would, butt up nicely against the wallpaper.
We'll cover it, it'll get covered anyway with the wallpaper, right?
Yeah, and then I am relying on you for kind of doing little tiny touch-ups if we're being very particular. But I'm pretty happy with how it's coming out. So.
Yeah. It's starting to come together.
Slowly, but we're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have come to a decision this week. We decided that instead of spending all the time that we were doing trying to make the bottom part of the walls perfect, because we're just going to paint them, right? We're not wallpapering over them. We've decided we're going to use a paintable wallpaper.
Yeah.
So this is basically just paper. Like it's a really, really thick paper with a slight texture to it that actually is very similar to the wallpaper we're going to use.
Yeah.
And we're going to cover the bottom section. So instead of using like wood or like paneling, this will just help sort of seal or hide all of those little imperfections that are in the plaster. I mean, we've patched as much as we can, but I think it'll just have a cleaner look.
A little more consistent with the wallpaper to have that. We talked about doing like a wood paneling or something like that, but the only option to affix it to the wall was really like adhesive glue, and we were worried about the long-term damage to the walls on that sort of.
You're welcome to the next people who own this chateau.
Yes, exactly.
Gluing veneer to the walls.
We are thinking as custodians in this case, so.
But I think it'll help just to make it cleaner. That way, when we put the data rail around it as well, it'll just be a tidier look. I think overall.
I think so. Yeah.
But I love the two-tone.
Good.
I mean, it's different. It feels like it's got a bit of a detail to it now, and I think when you get all the wallpaper and stuff, I can start to vision it, and I think it's going to be amazing.
No, I didn't get it all done today, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it's a long project, but we want to do it right. So
or as well as we can.
Yeah, exactly.
It's us
to our standard, right? We're not hiring professionals. So
exactly.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Here we go.
Progress.